This class is brought to you by the LA Care and Blue Shield Promise Community Resource Centers. The centers are a place to help you be active, healthy, and informed. We hope you enjoy this virtual class.
Hello, my name is Sonia Guzman. Today we are going to be making barbecue chicken quesadillas, and we're going to be making our quesadillas with a variety of different vegetables to help us get more vegetables into our diet. So let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot of work to do today to get everything ready for our quesadillas. So the first thing I'm going to do is put on my gloves, but you at home, make sure that you wash your hands properly before you start touching your food. Now, the quesadillas that we're going to be making, as I mentioned, are going to have chicken. If you're not old enough to cut chicken, have one of your parents or somebody, an adult, help you out. But I'm going to go ahead and start cutting my chicken. You will notice that I have two cutting boards here. I have the blue and I have the orange. And not only do I have two cutting boards, but I actually also have two knives. And that's so that whatever I use with the chicken, I don't also use with my vegetables. So I'm going to prepare my chicken here, cut it into small pieces, get it ready to go on into the pan. And then I'm going to go ahead and prepare all of my vegetables in the other cutting board, or on the other cutting board, to make sure that I don't cross-contaminate, right? I don't want anything to come into contact with the raw chicken. Therefore, I'm going to be using two knives and two cutting boards. Now, I'm also going to be using, as you can see, this is chicken breast, okay? But you can use any kind of, or cut of chicken that you'd like. You can use chicken breast, you can use the legs, you can use the thighs, whatever cut of chicken you prefer. So I'm just going to start removing any fat that I see on the chicken, any skin that I see on the chicken as well. Putting it here. This is going to be my little plate where I collect all of my trash. So place it in there, and then I'm just going to cut my chicken into small pieces. And again, if this is something that you can't do yourself, please make sure that an adult helps you. Now, chicken is really good for you because chicken has a lot of protein, okay? And protein is really important to help you grow. So chicken is a good option. Particularly this cut of chicken, the chicken breast, because it doesn't have a lot of fat. So I'm cutting it into smaller pieces, and you can cut it however you want. You cut into squares, you cut into strips, whatever works for you. And once I'm done cutting my chicken, since I am touching the chicken, I'm also going to remove my gloves and throw them in the trash. In your case, you would be washing your hands, again, because you don't want to touch anything, right? With chicken in your hands, you do not want to cross-contaminate. Okay, so that looks good. My chicken is cut now into smaller pieces, okay? This hand is still clean. It hasn't touched the chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt for flavor, and just a little bit of pepper. I'm going to use my hand that I already touched the chicken with to mix it. It's good to go. Now I can go ahead and take off these gloves and throw them in the trash. I'm going to go ahead and put on another pair. Now I've been heating my pan. It's on low. All I am going to do to get my pan ready is add a little bit of cooking spray. You can use cooking spray or you can use oil. I'm going to coat my pan with the cooking spray. Make sure that the pan is hot. Give it a little bit of time. And then take my chicken, the cutting board, over here and place the chicken into the pan. So I'm going to leave it there. and put my cutting board over here in the sink. And then I'm going to dry up the counter. And now I'm going to come back to my chicken, starting to sizzle. I'm just gonna move it around, make sure that all of it is touching the bottom of the pan and that there's room for all of it so it doesn't start steaming. Let that cook. So while my chicken cooks, I'm going to go ahead and start working on my vegetables, okay? Now the fun thing about these quesadillas is that you can select any vegetables that you want to try out. So you could, for example, go with your parents to the store when they go grocery shopping and look at the vegetable selection, pick one that maybe you've never tried before, and then use that one, right, to make your quesadillas. This is a great opportunity for you to try something new and really figure out, do I like it? Do I not like it? Is it good in a quesadilla? Is this a way that I can maybe eat it again in the future? Okay, so this can be fun and it can also be exciting and definitely delicious. So I'm just turning my chicken now, making sure that all of it gets cooked. And you will know that it's cooked once it loses its pink color and it turns into like a golden brown, okay? And if you are not able to reach the stove, then this is something that, again, an adult can help you with. Okay, so I'm going to go back now to my vegetables. So as I was mentioning, this is a great opportunity for you to try something new. So what we are going to try today, the foods that we are going to be adding to our quesadillas, we have, first of all, an onion. And I have a red onion, and this one tends to be not as strong as the white onion. So this is the one that we are going to be using today. Make sure that we peel it. And then we're just going to cut it into slices, right? Thin slices, so we can add it into our quesadillas. And actually what we're going to do, we're going to take our vegetables and we're also going to saute them a little bit so that they're not as strong. And I'll show you how we do that in a little while. So I'm just going to slice it thinly. Okay, move that over to the side. And then, of course, depending on how many quesadillas you will be making, you can put more onion or you can put less onion. And I will also be providing the recipe at the end of this video. And that one is more precise. It has more of the measurements depending, again, on how many we want to make. So the recipe itself will be for 4 people. As I am cutting my vegetables, I also want to make sure that I am keeping an eye on my chicken. Once the pan is hot, we can turn down the heat. And then again, just let it cook until we see that it turns a little bit of a golden brown color. Okay. So let's go back to the vegetables. Some of the vegetables that are really good to have with quesadillas, they kind of go really well, include vegetables such as mushrooms, other things such as peppers, okay? And then the ones that I have today, they're pretty good with quesadillas too. So we are going to have a zucchini, and what I'm going to do, since you notice that I cut the onions thinly, I want to make sure that I also cut the zucchini into small pieces, and that is going to help because it will allow everything to cook evenly, to cook at the same time. So I don't have, for example, an onion that is already really well cooked and zucchini that is still raw. So since I cut the onions quite thinly, I want to make sure that I cut my zucchini into small pieces as well. So I went ahead and cut it first a long way, right? Cut it into thin pieces that way. And then I'm going to go across and just make small chunks of zucchini. Okay. It's a good idea as well to kind of saute your vegetables a little bit at first. That way, when you put the vegetables into your quesadilla, it doesn't start releasing liquids and then you have a quesadilla that might not taste very good. Okay, so this way it will release the liquids beforehand, and that way when we put it into our quesadilla, it's pretty much good to go. Okay, so there's our zucchini. And we're just gonna saute all these vegetables together, so it's okay if we have them all here on the same cutting board all together. Okay. The chicken, coming over here to the chicken, it is starting to turn brown. We want to make sure that it cooks completely, that none of it is raw. We don't want anybody getting sick or potentially getting sick. Okay, and that's the nice thing too about chicken breast, is that's the cut that you decide to go with. It cooks fairly quickly, okay? So if you are really, really hungry when you start preparing your quesadilla, it'll be ready real quickly. Okay, that's cooking. Coming along. My last vegetable that I am going to be adding to this is spinach. And again, another good vegetable to add. Spinach also has a lot of iron, so this is really good for you, okay? So I'm just going to chop it roughly. I washed it prior to cutting it. That's really important too, particularly with things like spinach where you can get a lot of dirt caught in between the leaves. We want to make sure that you wash it thoroughly, that it doesn't have any dirt. Now, I'm opening my pan over here. I'm gonna, again, add a little bit of cooking spray. Just to coat the bottom. Check your heat, make sure it's not too hot. Then I'm going to take my vegetables and I'm just going to put them into my pan. Like so. I will do the zucchini and the onion first, and at the end, I will add the spinach. The spinach doesn't really need a lot of time to cook, so we'll just add it at the end, and as soon as it wilts, it's ready to go. Okay, so there's that. Now let me grab my spatula so I can move it around. So our chicken is now ready. And what we are going to do is we are going to add just a little bit of barbecue sauce. Just a little bit. We don't want to coat it completely in barbecue sauce. We just want to add a little bit just to give it the flavor, okay? We don't want to saturate it in sauce, right? Just give it the flavor. And then let the barbecue sauce just cook a little bit so it's not so strong. Blends into the chicken, right? The chicken grabs the flavor of the sauce. We'll leave that in there for just a bit. Let it cook. And then we will put it into our bowl. Chicken is ready. Now let's go ahead and place it into our bowl. So there you see the way that the chicken now looks with the barbecue sauce. Let's go ahead and talk about our other ingredients. So we have, first of all, our flour tortillas, right? Because we need those for our quesadillas. The ones that we have are whole wheat or whole grain. And how do you know when you purchase tortillas that they are whole grain? What you want to look for when you are purchasing your tortillas is you want to look for this symbol right here. Okay, I don't know that you can see it from there, but it's basically a symbol that shows us that this is whole grain. I will add it to the presentation so that you can see it. So here's what that little whole grain symbol looks like. So now you got to see what that looks like. So when you go shopping next time, make sure that you look for that symbol in your whole wheat or whole grain tortillas. Okay, our zucchini is pretty much done. It's real quick, right? Now I'm going to add the spinach just to get it to wilt. I think I lost a piece over here somewhere. Yes, I did. Put that over here. And then our other ingredient that we have is obviously our cheese, because we're going to be making quesadillas. And I have two options here. I have pepper jack, and I also have sharp cheddar. If you don't like pepper jack, you don't like sharp cheddar, you can use mozzarella, you can use Colby jack, you can use any kind of cheese that you want. There's also different, I guess, grades of cheddar. So this one is sharp, but there's also mild. You can use that one as well. Whatever cheese you want, you can use, okay? Okay, so this is pretty much done. We're just gonna cover it, turn it off, and then get ready to make our quesadillas. We'll put the spatula here. Now it's finally cooled off, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the sink. And then I'm going to get a clean pan to heat up my tortillas. So I'm going to grab a plate. I will need a plate so that once the tortilla has been warmed through, right, it's cooked, then we can go ahead, put it on the plate, and then add whichever toppings we would like to add. I'm putting my onion over here to the side. My vegetables are ready. I'm just waiting now for my pan to heat up. And a lot of times too, when you're going to heat up the tortillas, a lot of us actually know how to turn the tortilla with our hands. But if it's too hot or it's too warm, you're scared, right, that you're going to burn your fingers. You can use a spatula. You can use that to turn your tortillas. Here we have this one, for example. We can use that one to turn the tortilla with. And that way we don't burn our hands, our fingers. Okay, I'm gonna do it with my hand just because I can. I have the practice, so I'm gonna leave that in there, let that warm up. But if you want to use one of these, you can. So the nice thing about these tortillas, because they are whole grain, is that they're giving us nutrients, right? So we get to eat foods that we enjoy, but at the same time, we get to add nutrients, give nutrients to our bodies. The tortillas are giving us fiber. The vegetables are giving us a lot of different kinds of vitamins. For example, it's giving us what are known as antioxidants, which are vitamins that help protect us from diseases and illnesses. Cheese has calcium, and calcium is really important to our bodies. And we also have the chicken, which, as we had mentioned, has protein. And protein is really important for our bodies. It gives us energy, but also it helps us with our structure, with our bodies, the way that our bodies are developing, the way that we are growing. So I'm over here turning my tortilla. I'm gonna flip it, right? Flip it just a couple of times before I bring it over to my plate. I don't want it to cook completely, as I still need to add my toppings and then put it back on my pan. So let me grab a spoon. Then I'm going to put some cheese. In this case, I'm going to do pepper jack. I could even combine the cheeses if I wanted to. I'm going to add a little bit of my chicken. Grab the spoon here. A few pieces of my chicken. And then I'm going to add some of the vegetables. Once I've added all of my toppings, then I can go ahead and fold over my tortilla, place it back in the pan to let it warm through. Okay. As it is warming through there, I can go ahead and use the spatula to flip it, right? Because I want to make sure that it gets warm all over, but I don't want to burn my fingers and I don't want to potentially not turn it correctly and then all the toppings start coming out. So I can use the spatula now to just kind of help me lift it a little bit and then turn it. Once the cheese melts, then the quesadilla is good to go. Okay, so as our quesadilla continues cooking, let's review the recipe today. We talked about the quesadilla being a very versatile food because we can actually add a lot of different toppings, a lot of different vegetables. This is a perfect opportunity for you to try new things. If there are vegetables that you've been thinking about trying but you haven't yet, this is a great opportunity for you to do so because you can put them into your quesadillas and see if you enjoy those flavors. We mentioned how the quesadilla is a great food because our whole wheat tortilla has fiber, our chicken has protein, and our vegetables have a lot of antioxidants. We also talked about the symbol that you will be looking for to make sure that your tortillas are whole grain. So let's go ahead now, take our quesadilla. We are going to turn off our pan over here. We don't want to get burned. I'm going to move this over so you get to see what our finished product looks like. Just cutting it in half here. Okay, and opening it up for you. See that? Delicious. Doesn't that look delicious? Looks yummy, right? So you have the spinach, you have the zucchini, you have the chicken, the barbecue sauce, which gives it a lot of flavor, and the cheese. Okay, so that is the recipe that I have for you today. Remember, you get the recipe right after I am done with this presentation. I hope that you enjoyed making the quesadilla with me. Thank you so much for joining me. We look forward to seeing you virtually again next week and at one of our resource centers as soon as we can. Until then, stay healthy, active, and informed.